For centuries, we trusted authenticity in the details, a smudged signature, grainy film, and off rhythm hums. These artifacts were once byproducts of human limitation, proof that something was made not just with tools, but hands and hearts. But when imperfection becomes programmable, what does authenticity even mean? A MEDI keyboard can be humanized. To add random timing errors, a digital wink at our love for the organic. It's no longer about being human, it's about appearing like one. Barthes introduced punctum, that tiny, jarring detail in a photograph that makes it sting with truth. But now we can mass produce those emotional triggers. Algorithms generate cathedral, fonts for Instagram posts, and add camera shake to Zoom, calls like stock footage of sincerity. We crave the human touch, so much we've made machines replicate it, not to replace us, but to validate us. The result is a world where authenticity isn't earned, just algorithmically applied. Our minds are wired to trust signs of natural variations. It's how we distinguish the handmade from the manufactured. But when a computer can simulate camera shake, vocal hesitations, an even hand, writing quirks with ruthless precision, that trust becomes an algorithmic illusion. What's real is no longer what feels human, but what looks like it. And now, authenticity isn't in the experience, it's in the effect.
The earliest computers were not just machines, but intellectual breakthroughs, mechanical minds born from the need to calculate ballistic trajectories and crack codes, laying the groundwork.
The digital age promised transparency, but what it gave us was performance, a curated illusion of sincerity that mimics the warmth of real human touch. We're surrounded by AI, generated handwriting in handwritten love notes, voice cloning for customer service calls, and deep fakes so convincing they've been used to resurrect dead celebrities on stage. These are not just tools, they're counterfeits crafted with one goal: emotional trust. The result is a paradox. Our media becomes more personal, while what we hear in that footage confirms how long the illusion of authenticity has been part of digital design philosophies. Engineers didn't just build machines, they built personalities for them, using fonts and speech patterns to mimic human warmth. This desire to simulate presence is not new. From movable type to modern AI filters, there's always been a tension between efficiency and emotion. We want our tech to feel natural, but we forget that natural is an aesthetic choice, one shaped by Instagram filters and vintage. Looks are aesthetic choices rooted in a desire to appear unmediated. but they're just another layer of mediation. We apply film grain and lens flares not out of nostalgia, but because the flatness of digital feels too honest. It lacks character. These textures aren't about preserving history. They're about simulating authenticity where none exists. The effect is a kind of visual armor, protecting users from their own lack of originality by cloaking content in the
piece at Pixar, the Lucasfilm computer division, recently bought by Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Computer.
In Technopoly, as Neil Postman warned, machines don't just compute, they redefine truth itself. What once required judgment or intuition is now reduced to a score, a statistic, a taxonomy. The technical form becomes the reality. A personality test assigns you a number, and suddenly you are analyzed. Your beliefs aren't debated, they're categorized. And if something can be measured, it must be true, or at least manageable. Authenticity now functions like a religious artifact in this system. A hand-stitched logo, the glitchy filter on a deepfake film, it's all part of our new aesthetic faiths. We trust it because it looks human enough to fool us. But here's the twist. We've trained algorithms not just to mimic imperfection, but to weaponize it. The real feels less like an experience and more like an effect, sold back to us in a package labeled sincere. We've become seduced by the illusion of intimacy. AI-generated films, voice clones of dead celebrities. These aren't just imitations. They're trust engines. Their power lies not in their precision, but their imperfection, designed to look like they came from a human hand. The algorithm doesn't just replicate reality, it fabricates what we expect sincerity to feel like. We used to tell ourselves that authenticity was in the flaws, a handwritten note, a weathered leather jacket, or the crackling imperfection of a vinyl record. But now these signs are algorithmically generated and sold back to us by companies building entire industries around faking sincerity. It's not just deepfakes anymore. We have AI-generated graffiti on Instagram, handcrafted, sounding music loops on stock sound sites. Even AI poets publishing chapbooks with human, like stutters in their diction, can be faked at scale. What remains as proof of truth? The answer is nothing. Baudrillard warned us that simulation replaces reality and the real self becomes suspect. What was once a betrayal of tradition has become an artifact in its own right, an aesthetic category, not a moral one. Now when we see authenticity, We are seeing another form of code, another data point designed to move money, hearts, or attention. And so, like it or not, we begin to believe the fiction, because there is no longer anything